when you finish as central bank governor, what would you like to be remembered for in your work in financial inclusion?
I guess digital finance will be the most, and I'm hoping to have all the people, 99.9% of the people in the village that have access to some sort of that digital financial service.
This is Financial Inclusion Unlocked, an SIJ production.
Hi everyone, this is your host Jack Farron, and following a successful Series 1 of the show, we're excited to bring a special bonus episode today before the launch of Series 2 in January 2026. In May of this year, I had the opportunity to travel to Honiara, the capital of the Solomon Islands, a stunning nation in the Pacific made up of nearly 1,000 islands. With a population of just over 800,000, the country faces unique geographic and infrastructure challenges, especially when it comes to delivering financial services to its many remote communities. And whilst there, I had the opportunity of sitting down with Governor Luke Forau, the governor of the Central Bank of the Solomon Islands, for an honest and refreshing conversation exploring the country's digital transformation, including the launch of M-SELEN, a mobile money platform, innovations in climate insurance, the role of regulatory sandboxes, and why trust and community engagement are key to expanding financial inclusion. A huge thank you to Governor Forau for his time and to the entire Central Bank team for so warmly hosting me in their offices. I hope you enjoy the episode.
Governor Forau, thank you so much for joining me on the Financial Inclusion Unlocked podcast.
My pleasure.
I'm looking forward to diving into all things financial inclusion and also your role as Central Bank Governor. But as the first Central Bank Governor on the show, I'd like to hear, what does financial inclusion mean to you?
For me, it means that we provide the financial services to our people, especially those in the rural areas, which the United Nations call the last mile. We ensure that they are included in having access to some sort of financial services at an affordable cost.
So we're here in Honiara, in the nation's capital, at the Central Bank office, and they call it the Happy Isles. So why is it called the Happy Isles, the country?
I guess you look at the people and they all smile, so they are happy regardless of the challenges, but people are still happy. So that's why maybe we are called a Happy Isle.
For sure. Well, I'm definitely enjoying my time here, just 2 weeks. But for those that are listening that maybe don't know that much about the Solomon Islands, can you give me the context into some of the economic challenges?
Sure. So Solomon Islands consist of islands, and they are all scattered and far from each other and from the main capital in Honiara. So already you see there are geographical challenges in there in itself. The transportation is inadequate to service all these islands, and the services you would imagine they are also inadequate to service or to deliver the services to the majority of the people which lives in these islands, more than 80% of that. So there are already challenges in there, and for us to address some of these issues, especially to deliver the services to these islands, is quite challenging in itself. And from the central bank perspective, as a central banker, we ensure that the way we manage the economy, it's not only to serve those in the urban centers, but it has to be everybody, including those in the islands. So it's very challenging, but it depends on in terms of our key objectives, is to ensure that there is price stability in the domestic front, as well as we have to ensure that our financial system is stable, and we also contribute to the government in terms of supporting their policies. Yeah. So in doing this itself, it's quite challenging. And Solomon Islands is a developing country where the market forces are not really playing out well.
So you mentioned Honiara and then also the outer islands. So in terms of for the island, what are the major sources of income and sectors?
So I think firstly we have to know that so Solomon Islands, we have 9 provinces, and each province have its urban center or it's a capital on their own. Most of the islands or the provinces that in terms of the economic activities that are going on in there are mostly agricultural products, and that includes cocoa and copra. These are the main 2 commodities that are produced out in the provinces. And in fact, it's, if I could say, it's also the mainstay of the people. These are in the formal sector, and then you have the informal sectors that they do their own mainly for sustenance, and it's not for commercial activities.
So if we look at the informal sector in terms of access to financial services, how much of a challenge is that?
That is really a challenge. So I mentioned earlier on that given the geographical isolation of each other, and the banks have also withdrawn their physical branches in these provinces, that is basically because of the cost of operating the branches is so high. So what is left is we have to go digital. And that is, I guess, the drive that gives us to move into the digital space to ensure that we provide the financial services to the majority of the people who live in the rural area. And I guess this is where we are focusing all our efforts and resources on it, apart from our key mandates, of course.
We'll talk a bit more about some of the momentum around digital financial services. I know that there's been some groundbreaking initiatives that the central bank has helped support, but what are the big challenges that we face in terms of digital financial services in infrastructure, smartphone penetration, connectivity, digital literacy? What are some of those barriers, and how do you address them, as they are quite key challenges?
Yeah, so in terms of the let's say the telecommunication infrastructure itself, I guess with our telecom, which is the largest telcos that is providing mobile phones in the country, I think the penetration rate in terms of mobile phones is around 60 to 70%. And then in terms of smartphones, just recently we've seen some even people from the rural areas, they have access to smartphones. So the type of financial services that we ensure that we deliver or get our rural people to have access is we have to ensure that not only using the internet, but at least we have to also use the featured phones. But quite recently, I think other internet service providers have also brought up some good services that I think they can reach out to the last mile. And we are hoping to see that in maybe 5 years' time, we should be covering almost 90% of the population having access to those kind of infrastructure. Then I think in terms of digital financial services should be able to follow suit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the foundation, right? And then everything can build on top of that. But there's already been a few products and services that have gained traction. One is M-SELEN from our telecom. So what is that, and how did the central bank support its growth?
Yeah, so we've been supporting M-SELEN as well. M-SELEN just follows from M-PESA in Kenya and M-PESA in Fiji. So M-SELEN is just the same interpretation of money. SELEN is money. But we have a lot of support from our partners, UNCDF, the government. So there's a lot of collaboration in this undertaking to ensure that that M-SELEN delivers. With our telecom having their coverage, at least they are more in terms of the mobile phone coverage. So that's why the M-SELEN came in. Then we also have these other services like the USAVE from the Superannuation Fund, which also another service that is moving very fast in terms of helping those in the informal sector.
So you mentioned USAVE there from the Provident Fund. So what exactly is that product for the informal sector?
So the Superannuation Fund, at the moment, it only caters for the formal employed people. That's where they have their superannuation fund, and over time we felt that somehow we have to include, because of this financial inclusion, so we have to ensure that the informal sectors, they also have access to this same fund, and so it's meant for them, for the informal sector, where they can save from the money they make from their market vending, selling their produce or fish. Then they can send the money to the Superannuation Fund. As far as we are aware, it is the first of its kind to have your airtime to be used as savings in the fund. So it is an innovative
For sure.
areas that we are so proud of. And the government also supported us because the airtime is normally taxed when you use in your mobile phone, but they also exempted that the 10% tax on the USAVE if you are going to use that airtime for the USAVE.
So we've covered there a few digital financial products, and we've focused on access, right? But as central bank governor, when you think of the small market trader that now is using USAVE or M-SELEN, what do you think when you go beyond access in terms of what is the impact for that individual?
Yeah, so when we started off with our national financial inclusion strategy, the third one, we had a target that we should achieve in having people having access to financial services, and the target was 400,000. Our third financial inclusion strategy ends this year, and I think we have already surpassed that target. And most of these people are the very people that are in the village, especially. So we do also promote like savings club, the women around the country, that we also provide training for them to ensure. So we don't only get people to have access to financial services, but we also provide trainings for them. Just simple things like on the basic financial management, basic bookkeeping, and of course, we also train people to go and train other people in the village.
I listened to a speech a few weeks ago, and you were talking about this specifically for digital financial literacy. So as adoption increases and more people are using these digital products, it's important that they know how to safely use them and that they're protected. So what is the central bank trying to do in promoting digital financial literacy, especially in rural and remote areas?
So, when we started using these digital financial services, it comes with risks, especially when you are in a digital space. So we have to also ensure that it's safe for customers or for those using those kind of platforms. So we do provide trainings for them. So we have this training of trainers program, which are also supported by other donors like Good Return. They'll come and train, then they will go back and train other people in the village. So there's a multiply effect on that space. So it's been working really, really good. And there are other partners like the churches that we also partnering with them to have those trainings with them.
I was going to ask about church-based organizations. How important are they to mobilize their communities to come for awareness sessions or also to promote more generally social topics?
Yeah, so if you care to know that in Solomon Islands, churches, they are partners in development. Like they run schools, they run health centers, and some of them, they even have commercial activities. So they are our very important partner in development as we consider them. So we partner with the Church of Melanesia to run some of these programs, especially in helping them out in terms of women savings club. And, churches, they have a big congregation and they follow their superiors, so it's very easy to get them along, to have them on board.
I guess it's interesting. You can have all the technology in the world, right? But you have to combine that with trust and community to make that sustainable.
I guess it comes with trust. And, building trust is not an overnight thing. You have to build it over time. And the risk is if you spoil the trust, it will collapse overnight. And then for you to rebuild it, it will take ages. So it's very important for us that once the trust is there, is built, we don't want to damage that trust. Having partnership with churches, like their partners, they really are very supportive in this. And once they trust us, that we are doing things, good things for them, and they will certainly be able to impart on their other associates.
Yeah, I think trust is super important across the whole ecosystem, right? And when a new digital financial service or product is launched, it's important to test and to make sure that it's effective. And I know the central bank has a regulatory sandbox for new innovations to test and pilot. And many of our listeners from around the world may be familiar with sandboxes and may be interested to learn about your experiences, lessons learned from the sandbox, from some of these innovations that have come through.
Yeah, so for this regulatory sandbox, so it's a controlled environment where we accept those innovators or those with the platforms that they want to roll out in the country. They have to ensure that they come through us. They can test their product at a certain time. Then once we see that it's okay to roll out, then we'll put them out. And since we started off up to last year, I think there were about 7 applications that came through, and we managed to get them on. And the likes of M-SELEN, and there are others, Umicas, and other mobile bankers that are also in place. It's a way that we ensure that whatever platforms comes in, that we have to ensure that it will meet the requirements and even meet the needs of our people. Hence the importance of having the customer protection standards in place. So we have prudential guidelines to ensure that customer complaints must be addressed.
From those 7 applications that have been through the sandbox, do you have any particular learnings that you're taking forward for the the next phases of the sandbox?
Yeah, I mean, some took longer,
Mm.
some took very short. So definitely there are lessons to learn. Perhaps maybe from our part that we need to readjust because technology is moving really fast, that maybe some of our compliance conditions are too stringent, that it takes time to, but then so from our side, as technology moves faster, we need to adjust the pace of how we do things to ensure that we don't, or we are not seen as a stumbling block for any development.
The Solomon Islands is one of the world's most climate vulnerable nations. Research shows that since 1993, sea level rise in the country has been around 3 times the global average, swallowing coastlines and threatening the livelihoods of farmers, fishers, and small businesses. In response, a new parametric insurance solution has been launched through the central bank's regulatory sandbox, and I asked Governor Forau what this innovation means for the future of climate resilience in the country and more broadly in the Pacific.
At the moment, we don't have any facilities or any solutions as to when we are affected by any climate-related risks that will, apart from the government assistance. So we are very vulnerable to cyclones and even the sea level rising. It is very important, and we are glad that UNCDF is supporting us in this area. And we have piloted the parametric insurance solution, and we are ready to launch this thing. And I'm very looking forward for this product to go out, and it is going to be one of those solutions that will really help our rural people, especially those small market vendors, that it can protect their income.
Yeah. So my understanding is it's going to cover quite a few risks, and parametric insurance quite simple for communities to kind of get their heads around, and also payments will be going through mobile money as well, which is quite unique.
Yes, I'm aware that it doesn't take too many paperwork as in the traditional insurance that you have to fill up all sorts of forms to claim the loss. But for this, as soon as the trigger is met, then the payments is processed instantly. So, I mean, it's very easy, and I'm sure our people, especially those in the village, they'll be able to use that, and it will be good for them.
Yeah. So I think it's about bouncing back quicker, right? So in terms of current coping mechanisms for someone in the village when a cyclone unfortunately hits, what support do they have to turn to? And why is then a formal financial service like insurance something that could be helpful?
Currently, I think the only biggest supporter will be the government, but that will take about a month or two before the support is actually provided. For the village people, I don't think any insurance company will be able to insure against the loss coming from there. So there is really a huge gap. So the presence of the parametric insurance will really help in mitigating some of these losses.
Definitely. So a lot of exciting innovations coming out of the sandbox for 2025. I have on my notes here, aside from insurance, encouraging consumer behavior and adoption of inclusive green finance or other initiatives that help low-income consumers adapt to the impacts of climate change. And that's an objective, a policy objective, also in the sandbox and what you're trying to contribute to. So what other climate-focused financial products and services are you looking to pilot through the sandbox?
I guess there are other areas that, like, we have a working group on inclusive green finance. So apart from the parametric insurance, there could be other solutions that will come up. And I think even in the new financial strategy that we are going to work on that.
Yeah. So apart from climate, green finance, technology, are those the focus areas, or are there other focus areas?
Well, under this current one, it's the DFS, the SMEs, the consumer protection and data measurement, which are the 4 main ones. And we thought that we might carry on this as we thought that they are very important. And then those new ones that I just mentioned, that maybe the ones that we will bring on board. We are also going to carry out a demand side survey to give us more proper, accurate of where we are at the moment, and then we can make decisions on where next. As our last demand survey, I think, was done in 2015, so it's quite outdated now.
So I'm looking forward to seeing all of this. And finally, Governor Forau, it's been great to have you on the show. If we look at your tenure, when you finish as central bank governor, what would you like to be remembered for in your work in financial inclusion?
I guess digital finance will be the most one that I would like. And I'm hoping to have all the people, 99.9% of the people in the village that have access to some sort of that digital financial service, either with their smartphone or their featured phone.
Okay. Well, Governor, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
It's been my pleasure to have you.
That was Dr. Luke Forau, the Governor from the Central Bank of the Solomon Islands. And this has been Financial Inclusion Unlocked, an SIJ Media production hosted by me, Jack Farron. We can't wait to be back with you in January for Series 2. If you want to be the first to hear new episodes, be sure to hit subscribe or follow on the platform you're listening on so you'll receive notifications, and connect with us on LinkedIn at SIJ Media to stay in the loop. See you all next year.